Are we good? Hey there, guys. It's Metro. Looks like a new session. It's good. It's what I wanted to happen, really. I didn't want to just continue from the old one. But yeah, we're back. Sorry about the ending of the last one, but that's what happens sometimes. Anyway, we got still got about another hour and a half to play here. So let's see what we can get done. We got quite a few of these already. 70. So that's going to be 8 total. Forgot to use. Already forgot how to play the class after only 15 minutes away. But yeah, anyway, we got about 8 total, so another hour and a half. We'll see where we're at. I'm hoping that we can get at least to, yeah, I guess like maybe another 8. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but we'll see. I'm not exactly sure. I kind of wish that these weren't cut into 2 because I don't have any new thoughts to bring up at the start. I always like to open with some interesting thoughts or things to bring up, but there's nothing. There's a continuation in every way from the previous one. And everything still applies. Hopefully I can keep it interesting. Like I said, maybe next session, when I have time to think about it a little bit more, we will go ahead and put, yeah, just kind of let the game sounds do the work. We'll see. It's either that or just move on from this. I don't know. I think it might not be a bad idea to move on, to be honest, because I don't really need this many right now. Like, the sooner you get it isn't necessarily the better, because I can't even use the gear right now. I can't use the gear until I'm 70, so it would almost be better if I just didn't do this now and just got to 70 as fast as possible, and then from 70 to 80 worked on this kind of thing. It seems like the better course of action, but we're going to commit to this for the next hour and a half or whatever it is, and then we will see. Okay, so for now we're going to stick with this. But yeah, this will probably, actually this will definitely be the last session of this no matter what. No matter where we're at, we'll move on. We'll try to get, we still need to get to 67 so we can buy some of the other gear that we need to make on the way up. And then we'll, you know, figure it out. We'll probably stop at the auction house. Maybe at the end of this session we'll go to the auction house. Yeah, like 6 o'clock we'll go to the auction house and see where we're at, something like that. I just want to see what's out there to purchase because I don't know. This realm's notoriously terrible with stuff like this. But if we could even get 1 moat for cheap, how much money do we have? We only have 50 gold, so we barely have any money. We're basically only money we're getting right now because we're not doing quests. The only money we're getting right now is from vendoring these greys that we're killing, or that we're getting from killing these things. And that's fine, but not ideal. So I just saw, I don't know how this even happened. I was looking at a clip of something that was completely unrelated. Pet's dead. Completely unrelated clip. And somebody said, his reaction in this clip is something like that happens in Legend of Korra. If you don't know what that is the Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm sure you've heard of that, maybe not, but it was a very interesting cartoon that Nickelodeon produced and made a long time ago. Probably like early 2000s, I guess. I don't actually know when it was first made. Let me look it up. 2005 was the first when it was aired, so, and then it ended 2008. So yeah, it's probably they probably started making it in like 2003 or 4. But it's very well written, brilliant idea, absolutely brilliant, honestly. It's a very good fantasy setting too, like it's like a setting that I would love to see a video game in, honestly. Like a MMORPG or something would work really well. There have been some fan projects that I'm aware of. Well, there is one going on right now, which is very interesting. A guy's making it entirely in this game engine that's like, I don't even know what it is. It's some kind of like, I think it's called Dreams or something like that. It's a game engine, I guess not that different from RPG Maker. Much more like, you can do a lot more with it in like a 3D way. I don't know anything about it. I just heard about it. The guy's making like a fan game. Not like Pokemon ones. This is like entirely new. Like he's making a game from scratch. And anyway, we got a little bit off topic there. But yeah, well, no, that is the topic. The topic is that it's an excellent universe. Like, I love the universe. I love the reason I think I loved it so much is because I love Golden Sun so much. And I feel like they're very similar universes. Like, the games and the stories are completely different. But the whole, like, 4 elements govern this world so profusely that we... Like, in Golden Sun, you cannot complete anything in that universe without having the synergies, right? Like, whatever, like, however you pronounce it. You cannot play that game without using the magics in that game. It's not possible. They're that important. It's not even like, oh, it's overpowered. No, that's not what I'm talking about. If you never played the Golden Sun series, we're talking about things that are actually, like, you have to use a move, a magic that, like, physically moves objects. It's the only way you can do the puzzles. And puzzles where you, like, lift an object with your magic and all this. Like, it's absolutely excellent how they did it, honestly. I love it. The thing is, that's exactly how Avatar is. The Avatar universe. It's the exact same way. Their magics in that universe is so, like, core to success and failure that it's beautiful. Like, it's beautiful to watch. And there are some of the best, like, choreographed fight scenes that I've ever seen in anything in that series. It's very well done. The first series is very well done. But I think the second series is even better. And somebody said, so the person who said, like, oh, this reminds me of something that happens in Korra. And I was just leafing through the comments and it was like, oh, somebody said, like, oh, yeah, but it's not as good as the ones in the first TLA, which is the Last Airbender. The Last Airbender. And I'm like, I'm thinking, like, uh-oh, here we go. And it went exactly as expected. The person who posted it was like, I like Legend of Korra better. And somebody's like, oh, you're a fucking idiot then, basically. Like, all right, I no longer care about your opinion on this topic then. And it got into this heated argument where I guess I shouldn't spoil it, but I'm going to. So, for some reason, you don't want to be spoiled. This is minor, but anyway, the main characters in The Last Airbender end up having a same-sex relationship. And that's looked at as like, oh, I mean, it's progressive for cartoons, right? Like, kids are watching this. But I always looked at that as like, no, this is not for fucking kids. You know what I mean? Like, this is a series that was made for everybody. There's things that kids can enjoy, and there's things that adults can enjoy. And you know, that can be said for The Last Airbender too, but frankly, when I watched The Last Airbender, I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like, 2005, I was young. Like, I was, what, 15, 14 at the time? So, when that show started, I was not an adult yet. And I think that's important to realize. Like, so if I like The Last Airbender more, you gotta ask, do I have nostalgia from when I was a child? The answer is yes, I think. You know what I mean? Like, I think the Legend of Korra is actually better. It's a better series. The stories are more compelling and they're more real. The big difference from The big difference from The Last Airbender is that those stories were all, like, very, very lighthearted and, like, they didn't feel realistic. Up until the end of every season, nothing happened that was important at all. But in Korra, it was like watching Game of Thrones. Like, you couldn't miss an episode of that. If you missed an episode of that, you were not going to understand what happened. You need to go and rewatch it. So yeah, that's the big difference for me. It felt more like a series that an adult would need to understand. You'd need to be an adult to understand everything in. And my favorite part about Legend of Korra, actually, was the multi-bending, I guess. I don't know how there's probably somebody's got a better answer than this, I'm sure, but from what I'm trying to describe is how, like, these side bending styles became, like, a big part of the show. Like, for example, in The Last Airbender, they were just exploring it, just scratching the surface. Like, Toph found out that she could bend, let's try to see how the best way she was able to bend steel, right? Able to bend steel. What am I doing? Able to bend steel because there's earth in steel, right? So as an earthbender, maybe I should preface more about what actually the show is. It's basically like I was describing with the Golden Sun series. Like, everybody is able to control one element. Like, a magic user is able to only control one element. That is it. Their whole lot in life is based on this one element. And yeah, to varying success, they control it. And they can do things that are cool with it. Like, you know, water benders could like make ice bridges, and rock people could make landslides, and you know, it's awesome. Like, it's very cool. I've always, oh, I'm gonna die, aren't I? Shit. Yep. Wow. All right. That's just, we just did like no damage there at all. Anyway, wait, where's my corpse? I don't actually know where I died. Oh, it's over here. Anyway, yeah, so they can do, like, think about, you know, what you can do with that. It's basically exactly like, it's many times I'm going to make this comparison. It's basically exactly like Golden Sun. Where, like, okay, well, because we could manipulate the Earth, I could turn into sand particles and pass through things that are sand. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the things that you do in Golden Sun, and that's effectively what is done in the Avatar universe, okay? But then you start to think, like, a creative mind starts to think, well, you can do a lot more than that, right? To manipulate an element of Earth means that there's a lot more going on than just rocks. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what, I always felt like it was very, like, childish compared to Korra, because Korra, like, understood that at, like, a base level. Like, that was the main thing in the show, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, at one point, everybody has to deal with it. So, anyway, so Toph becomes this metal bender at the end of season 1, right? At the end of her, whatever it was, the show 1. Multiple seasons, I think there was, like, 3 seasons in show 1. She becomes this, like, prolific earthbender because she could bend and manipulate metal, which apparently nobody else on the planet can do. So then in Korra, her, like, family are, like, main characters. Her daughters, I think, or maybe her granddaughters. I don't know which. I can't remember. It's been a long time. But her family are, like, main characters. And they've created this entire town, or city, more so, that is made up of only metal and purely bent, right? So everybody in that community, I guess, either learns how to do it or can do it for whatever reason. There's, like, a lot of people in the world now who could bend metal. And this, again, becomes, like, a huge, huge story plot in this, okay? But what's most interesting is that then one of the main characters, like one of the main characters in Korra's, like, entourage, becomes a lava bender. And that's like, oh my god, that is so awesome. That is so much, that's so much cooler than metal. And it makes sense, right? But at that point, I always wish that there was a third series, because it's like, hold the fuck on. If this guy could bend lava, then he could bend fire. Right? Sure, like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, lava is mostly fire. That, you know what I mean? Right? Like, am I wrong? Maybe I'm misremembering this. I'm pretty sure he was, yeah, Bolin. He was the earthbender in the group. His brother was the firebender. Yeah, that's right. And then even in the first series, there was, like, the blue fire and the lightning benders. That was kind of like a sub-bending style. Not really, but I think a lot of people looked at it as lightning bending was not fire. Obviously, it isn't. I don't know where they even came up with that, but there was never any water. I don't think in any season of any show there was ever... Oh, no, there was blood bending. That's right. Yeah, so water had blood bending. But anyway, there was, like, some cool crossovers. But I always thought, like, shit, if this dude could bend lava, if he could manipulate lava, then that means he could do fire, too. He just doesn't realize it yet. So I always wanted there to be a third show where people start being able to cross over, like, they can do 2 elements. Because I don't know, nobody ever talks about that in any of the show. It's just assumed that you could only do 1 element. That is it. No matter what you do, you can only do 1 element. And the only person who could do more than 1 element is the Avatar, the master of all 4 elements. Which is a brilliant, I love the idea. And I wish that they had that in Golden Sun, honestly. If there was a way that you could have done that in Golden Sun, I think that would have been awesome. But obviously a completely different universe, completely different story, so no surprise. But anyway, So I always thought that like, oh well, I bet there's no reason that you can't be like a dual type. You know what I mean? Like you can't use water and air at the same time. But at that point, what does it do? Like if you could use both, because like the coolest thing about some of the fight scenes with Korra especially, and Aang, it wasn't as big of a deal. He barely ever used firebending. But Korra was very willing to use all four all the time. Well, there was some story about not, but yeah, anyway. By the end of the show, she was like going nuts with all four things. And so was Aang. But it was a little bit less pronounced. Like I felt like he never really wanted to. He was still learning how to do things, let's put it that way. By the time you come with Korra, she is like, she's a master already of pretty much everything but air, so. The first season is her finishing mastering air, I think. Probably the best way to put it, but yeah. By season 2 and onward, she's mastered everything. And then she gets into this like spirit bending, which is even cooler. But that's like Avatar specific stuff. I'm just thinking of like on the ground floor, what's it like to be a character in this universe? And I think the most interesting character development that could have happened was if there was suddenly a double bender, like a dual type bender. I don't know. I'm trying to relate it to other games, but dual type is all I can think of from Pokemon. Magic the Gathering as well, right? But anyway, I thought that would be fucking awesome. And I always hated that they never, I don't know, like, I think they were going to make a new series, but I think they were just going to reboot the first, I think they're rebooting the first series. Like, they're making something for Netflix, the two dudes who made the original series. And I think they're just rebooting the first series, so. I mean, I don't think they ever would have expected to make 2 series when they made the first series, so I never understood, like, it's like, no, that's it, we're definitely done. It's almost like Dan and Dave from Game of Thrones being like, we're done with Game of Thrones, we've outgrown it. It's like, well, first of all, that was maybe before the controversy of season 8 being what it was, but like, come on. This show is why people know who you are, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I understand when the same thing, fucking Christian Bale did the same thing, man. I hate that shit. It's like, I won't ever play Batman again. I don't want it to define me, who I am. It already fucking did. For many, many people, it already did, dude. He's a great actor, one of the best actors, but it just kind of sucks when these people, like, it's almost like if they get annoyed with the role. It's like, well, you weren't annoyed when it was putting you on the map and making you $1 million, more than that, $1 billion every fucking show, right? Every film. So I always looked at that as the same situation for Last Airbender. It was like, dude, come on. You're gonna just give up on this franchise? Like, nobody would have ever seen Korra coming from Aang, right? There's no indication that there was ever even gonna be another Avatar, like, let alone, like, Aang is in this one too, like, not, he's dead, but in, like, flashbacks and stuff, like, so it's, like, really good. But anyway, the thing with Legend of Korra is I thought the villains were all excellent. And I think the funniest thing is, this is really fucked up. I don't know how many people even know this, but the second season's villain was a guy named Zaire. He's awesome. Some of the best action sequences ever. The dude, oh yeah, so that ultimately, that was like the sub-bending idea of air, that he could fly. He learns how to fly. And that is like the big plot point. All of his dudes are like better. They're like more skilled benders than most people. So like his fire dude, or his fire dude, it was the chick actually, but she was like combustion. So fire was like, it had combustion as well, I guess. And it was like, you can make explosions or whatever. So, and then his water chick was like, she could use like tentacles. I don't know. That one was always weak. It felt like the water one was a bit weird, but she was able to like use water maybe in her body. I'm not exactly sure what they were going for there, but basically she could like manipulate water all around her body to do crazy things. And then the earth guy was a lava bender. So that was like the first time we saw lava bending. One of the main characters gets enticed by it, ends up doing it, and he ends up doing like even better than this guy. So anyway, then Zaire's thing was he could fly, so like just legitimately hover, like he had the hover gem, let's put it that way, going back to the Lost Age. But anyway, So I always thought it was cool, like, these characters were, like, very, very powerful characters. Way cooler than any villains that were in, like, you know, Firelord Ozai. It's like, come on, that's that's just a dictator, you know what I mean? That dude was, he wasn't anything special compared to the villains that were in this show, honestly. They were excellent. All the seasons. I think there was 4 seasons. Yeah, I guess there was 4 seasons. They were very good villains. Season 1 was not good. Season 1 of Legend of Korra was not good. I didn't like it at all. But seasons 2, 3, and 4 were fucking excellent, honestly. And I legitimately, like, you know, I cried at the end of the season, at the end of the show. It was excellent. Season 2 of Legend of Korra, I don't know, maybe it's nostalgia, but I look at that as one of the best seasons of any, like, non-real, like, you know what I mean, without actual actors. It's amazing. But anyway, what I was talking about was, what was I talking about? Already forgotten. Fuck, man. It's awkward. But anyway, the show's good. I liked it. And I wish that they would make more, because I would love to see what the universe looks like today, you know what I mean? Like, the thing is, the only thing that does kind of suck about it was that they were trending towards, like, in The Last Airbender, it was like, we're in the Dark Ages, or maybe like the Middle Ages. We're in the Middle Ages. Kind of. Not really. It's just that, like, in terms of technological, like, innovations, we're in the Dark Ages almost, you know? But then once they learn how to bend metal, it's like, well, suddenly we can make robots, and suddenly we're in, like, the technological revolution, you know what I mean? And it became, like, a much more modern show, and I didn't like that. That approach wasn't my favorite, but it makes complete fucking sense. Like, obviously, that's what would happen. Oh, this is where I was going with this. Of course, I remember now. So anyway, Zaire was played by Henry Rollins. Let me make sure that's his name. I don't want to misquote it. Rollins? Yeah, that's it. Henry Rollins, who is the, or was? Oh, I guess he still is. I don't know. I don't know. He's a singer. Let's put it that way. Black Flag. He was part of Black Flag. Let's see. Does he still perform? No, I guess not. I guess Black Flag. I don't know anything about that band, honestly. But he was the singer of Black Flag, and he was like a punk rock singer, I guess, or more than that. But now he's like an activist, and he's got a lot of really strong opinions. Anyway, he's got a really good speaking voice, honestly. Like, he was great for that role. And this character was the fucking best, man. He was just such a badass. I absolutely loved him. And he even comes back in season 3. And I was almost dissatisfied, or season 4. I was almost dissatisfied with how he was handled in season 4. Because he was basically, like, wrong. I always thought he was right. Honestly, I always sided with him. I was like, yo, Korra's fucking wrong, dude. This dude's right. He's just a sycophant. Like, you know, he's just like a way too aggressive. Let's put it that way. He wants way more than he should get, but he's right. This is right. His mentality of thinking is better than the alternative. So I always hated it in season 4 when he was basically put in a cage and like, look, you're wrong. And he's like, fuck, I guess I am wrong. You know what I mean? I still think if it wasn't like, if they didn't have potential issues with him being on the show still, he probably would have had a bigger role. But here's the interesting part. So he's played by Henry Rollins, and the next character, the next bad guy, and again, I don't want to get the names wrong. Let me look this up. Yeah, okay. Zelda Williams. That was her, right? And yeah, I'm pretty sure. That is obviously Robin Williams' daughter. Okay. So he dies. Robin Williams passed away during the show. And Henry Rollins said, I can't even remember what he said, but it was something like so fucked. Like he was like he deserved, like what, I don't know the circumstances of any of this, honestly. Robin Williams' death. I don't actually know how he even died. Oh, he killed himself. Fuck. That's why Henry Rollins said that he deserved no pity or whatever. He said anybody, basically like, I'm gonna have to look this up. I forgot that this happened. Robin Williams, Henry Rollins. But yeah, like basically, I don't know why Henry Rollins lost respect for Robin Williams. He like made like a huge, yeah. Robin Williams' suicide has inspired Henry Rollins to pen a 997-word missive for LA Weekly, in which he highlights the selfishness of the act. Although he called Robin Williams a good man, he praised his performance for USO. He said that he lost respect for Williams when he learned that the actor had killed himself, primarily citing the fact that Williams was a father. Rollins has apologized for the column in a long note posted on his website and has published another article saying he cannot defend the views he expressed originally. Well, I didn't know that part. But either way, he basically said, I mean, I don't know if they ever met, like, the two of them. But think about that. They're on the same fucking television show. And your father is dead. And this dude says, fuck your father. Fuck your father because you're alive. Like, think about that. It's like, no, you don't need to be worried. I'm good. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. Not a fucking thing about this situation. Don't even think I do. But I just thought that was like that could have ruined the show, honestly. Like, what the hell? You got two of your main characters in 2 seasons back to back who probably hate each other now. I would like to hear more about this, but I don't know if there's any. Let's see. Henry Rollins, Zelda Williams. I bet there's got to be something, right? I have no idea, though. I mean, this was so bizarre. When did this even happen? I need to look that up. Let's see. Legend of Korra. What year? He died in 2014, apparently. Yeah, so it was actually at the end. We were like well into season. So, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this happened before. Like, maybe the show was already done filming before this actually happened. It just hadn't aired yet. Filming. You know what I mean? Like, it was in production. It was like done being produced when he killed himself. I have no idea. So maybe I'm wrong about this whole timeline thing. But I always just thought it was bizarre as fuck that these two people are in the same show together and that happened. Like, think about that, man. That is so fucked, dude. I don't know of any real world, like another real world situation that you could even say that about. Like, it's just so insane. Imagine if, like, Game of Thrones, like, Sophie Turner's father. Yeah, it doesn't even matter. Because, like, Robin Williams is not, like, he is bigger than everybody else on every other show. There's nobody else out there. Like, for me to sit here and try to say, like, Maisie Williams insulted Sophie Turner's father. Nobody knows who Sophie Turner's father is. It would be a tragedy, but nobody cares. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody really cares. Obviously, it's a tragedy if it happened. But it's still, nobody would actually know that it happened. It would just be like, oh, okay. Well, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. I can't believe Maisie Williams would say that. But it wouldn't matter. Like, this is important shit. To say this about Robin Williams. And then to be on set. Like, I guess there's no sets. I don't know how these shows are made when they're not live action. Do they just film? Or do they just, like, they probably do all the animation? Do they do, like, all the animation before it's even a thing? I don't, like, is there even voice acting before animation? I don't think so. Probably make the entire show, write the script for it, animate it like the script's being said. I assume, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe they do all the voice acting first. Because, like, what happens if the voice actor says a word wrong? I guess they can't. They have to do it exactly. Like, if something gets said wrong and then they have to change what the character looks like they're saying, does that matter? Oh, what's this? Alright, welcome. Welcome to war mode. It's the first time it's happened in a while. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know how any of that works. But anyway, I just thought that was absurd. And like that, what we've talked about here today, like the way season 2 goes, the characters in season 2, 3, and 4, like this is excellent. It's a very, very well written. It's just as good as anything else from The Last Airbender. But the difference was all of it's like connected and it's much more real. Like it's way more important. The characters are so much more important for each other than anything else. Like, it's not even close. You know what I mean? In the last Airbender, it was basically, there was only one villain all 3 seasons. That's kind of aggro, isn't it? Yeah. One villain all 3 seasons, and, you know, some smaller villains who were basically just subordinates of the main villain. They had no motives other than just fuck the world. Like, what's Firelord Ozai's motive? You know what I mean? He's just a bad dude who's trying to take over the world. That's it. But Zaire's motives were, like, that's shit that you don't see in cartoons, man. That was fucking crazy. And still to this day, one of the best animated scenes I've ever seen is when Zaire fights... what's the guy's name? I can't remember. He's played by J.K. Simmons or whatever. Is that the dude's name? J.K. Simmons? Yeah. Tenzin. That was so good. It was unbelievable, man. Tenzin versus Zaire. This has got to be one of the best fight scenes in any animated thing I've ever seen in my entire life. You should look it up. Can't show it on stream, but here, I'm going to show a very, very, very brief quick clip because this is the encapsulation of it. Can I even do that? I don't know how to do that at this point. The pet's dead again. Stop dying. I think I have it. Window capture? Nah. I'll have to do it on desktop real quick. That's fine. Okay, watch this clip. Yeah, oops. What the hell's that? What the fuck? Still learning Windows 7 or 10, whatever. Okay, watch this little action here. This is like some of the best. This is why it's great. Watch this. Boom, look at that. So look at this. This is insane. This is like... So they're both master airbenders, right? One's better than the other probably, but they're both very, very skilled. So he's like... They're like blocking each other's abilities with like extremely powerful... Look at that. Look at how good that looks. And then he's hopping from building to buildings, and they do it again up here. Look at that. That is just insane. It's not good because it's low quality and it's on the stream. But if you saw that at like the full quality that the show had and with sound and live, it's insane. It's very good. That fight is one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in anything. And as good as Avatar was, I feel like the Last Airbender was, I feel like it got carried by its music, honestly. Its music, and it's like almost it had like a very pure sense of self. Like there was no corruption in the characters. There was no ulterior motives. There was no strife between them. The most there was like, we don't know what to do. That was the most. It wasn't like Game of Thrones where like the characters are constantly at each other's throats. You know what I mean? It was pure. Like they're friends. They're always going to be friends no matter what happens. They'll get along, and you know that these 4 characters or whatever are always going to work towards the same goal. But in Korra, it wasn't that way at all. It was like, you don't know. Korra was like a box of emotions half the time because she was a fucking teenage girl basically, and it was like, I don't know, I just thought it was way more realistic and way more interesting because of that realism. It was really just the bad guys that were fantastic. They were called the Red Lotus as well. Zaire's crew. But it was a great show. And I will say this one more time. I think it was better than Last Airbender, honestly. I really do. I think it was better than Last Airbender. And I think a lot of people who disagree with that are people who are nostalgic. Like, I think if you watched Korra first and then watched The Last Airbender, you'd be like, oh, that was pretty good. But yeah, I definitely think Korra was better. Like, it's just advanced in every way. Like, it's better in every way. Visually, it's better in every way. The depth of the writing is better than in every way. Like, I don't know. That was one of the things that confused me. That was one of the things that confused me. People were like, tell me that you think the character development is better in Korra than it was in Last Airbender. And the guy was like, yeah, I do. Absolutely. Are you kidding me? And somebody was like, He basically like wrote the entire show off because at the end they enter into a same-sex relationship. It's like, are you retarded? Like, you're actually like, the first guy who was supporting Korra was saying that the other guy was a child and he would understand things better when he was older. And the guy basically said, no, it's the other way around. I don't like this because I'm older and I don't appreciate what they're doing with the characters, ruining the characters by doing this. It's like, dude, that's pretty childish, wouldn't you say? Like, why? I mean, I understand why people dislike shoehorning that kind of stuff into media, but it made complete sense. Basically, like, the whole first act of the show, she was, like, struggling because she thought she was, you know, in a relationship with this guy. And I don't, like, I always thought that there was something there between her and this female character, honestly. Like, I think as early as season 1, they were building this up. People were like, they did it out of nowhere to boost ratings. And I'm like, I don't think that's what happened at all, honestly. It didn't feel that way at all to me. It felt like, yeah, I had a feeling this was going to happen. When it was finally revealed, I'm like, yeah, that was always going. She's very attractive, you know what I mean? That's the only thing I can think of, because I just can't understand the problem there. But anyway. How are we doing on stream there? Looks like we're having some trouble. Hold on, I just want to check this. Yeah, a little lag. For whatever reason. Internet's not doing great, maybe. But anyway, yeah, a lot of lag, actually. Oh, well, can't stop that. I gotta keep moving. Anyway, the, looks like it's good now. Maybe because we looked at that video for whatever reason. Let's close that. Yeah, hey, I don't know. But hey, you know what? I think, you know, Avatar: Last Airbender was excellent. I'm sure if they remake it, it's gonna be excellent, too. I always worry about live action stuff, frankly. I am very worried about live action stuff. If it was up to me, I would always prefer animated. Like, I wish they can do that with Warcraft, honestly. I wish Warcraft's films, like, first of all, it looks like they're done making Warcraft films, but I wish they weren't. And if they weren't, I wish that they would just make them in the cinematic art style that's used in World of Warcraft, honestly. Or even the Warbringers style, whatever that is. I would prefer that style than live action. Because, first of all, live action is such a fucking problem. Like, you have, not problem, but I mean, like, it's such an effort, right? Like, you have a lot of moving parts in a full feature-length film that's ran by human beings. You know what I mean? Like, the acting is so important. And they're not getting Anthony Hopkins. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be serious. Like, Travis Fimmel was good. Ben Foster's one of my favorite actors on the planet, but not because of Medivh. You know what I mean? Like, he was fine, I'm sure. I don't. Nobody was bad in the film, but nobody was good in the film either. There wasn't like, God damn, that was a good acting performance. And there's not going to be. The characters are not, they don't need acting. They just need somebody to read the lines. So that's the problem with this. Like, when you have something this well written, who plays it? You can't get somebody to play it, you know what I mean? It's not Game of Thrones where, like, you can't possibly convey the sentiments without a real person being involved. Warcraft is the opposite, you know what I mean? It's high fantasy. In low fantasy, you need the human element. There's no... You can't do Game of Thrones animated. Like, it would be much worse than with real people, you know what I mean? But I feel the opposite for Warcraft. You can't do Warcraft without a copious amount of CG. So why even try? You're basically making an animated film anyway. You know what I'm saying? What other films have shit like this? There's very few. Almost none. Almost no other films on the planet would rely, like Avatar. You know what I mean? Not ironically, not Avatar: The Last Airbender. Avatar the film with, you know, Jake Sully and the blue people, right? Like, that film relies on CG. It is not a film without CG. Same with Warcraft. Is it ever going to be at the same level as Avatar? No. So why even try? I never got it. It made no sense to me. Even Lord of the Rings is more low fantasy than high fantasy, right? And that was a fucking massive endeavor, right? They really got lucky with Lord of the Rings. I always felt like luck was heavy on Lord of the Rings because if it wasn't for Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter were basically, if both of them weren't what they were at the same time, no go. Both of them would have sucked. Honestly, I think that. The first Lord of the Rings and the first Harry Potter were garbage. But I feel like the yin and yang there, as they were both being developed and produced, like the hype each was building, was mandatory for their success, not optional. It could not, this franchises could not succeed without each other. You know what I mean? And obviously Lord of the Rings was completely different, but I don't know. I feel the same way with this. Like, there's no contemporary here other than Game of Thrones and now The Witcher, and so why did they even bother? The Warcraft films were never going to succeed. They're not Marvel, you know what I mean? Marvel, those films are at least real. They take place in the real world. Even though, like, some of the, like, gravity doesn't apply to some of the characters. They're not, like, fucking summoning demons. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. Well, they kind of are, but it's a lot different. It's a completely different style of film. And they're able to be much more grounded and relatable to the viewer when they're in that universe. Whereas Warcraft, like, the Warcraft universe is excellent. It's the best cinematic universe, or whatever, like, the best fantasy. I don't have enough soul shards. It's extremely good, an extremely good universe, but I just don't think it works well at all with without massive amounts of CG. And you see that they needed that, like, to the point where it basically cheapened up the rest of the film. They needed so much CG in that Warcraft film that they basically had to cut costs on everything else. So, I don't know. I don't know if they'll ever make another one again. I don't think they should, honestly. I think they should just not, frankly. Just don't make any more. And instead, if you want to develop a animated series, like, not like cartoon animated series, not an anime, but like a CG, like a pure, whatever, I don't know what you call it. Like a Warcraft 3, or a World of Warcraft cinematic. Make that. Make a 2-hour-long World of Warcraft cinematic. Is it possible? I don't know anything about it, but surely it would have cost less money than hiring all those actors, getting all that going. Surely. There's no possible way, right? I mean, am I wrong about this? A 2-hour cinematic has to cost less money than a full feature-length film to make, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but that would be my my preference, because there's so many stories to tell and they're not well told at all in the game. Like, so I always bring this up. My boss, the guy I used to, well, I haven't worked with him in a while, but the guy I work for / with, he loves the Warcraft film. He never played World of Warcraft. He never played Warcraft 3. He doesn't know a thing about the Warcraft franchise. He saw the film and he genuinely loved it. He wanted there to be many, many films. And I was trying to explain to him, I'm like, listen, if there was going to be many, many films, this is the worst possible story they can tell. You don't understand how much there is in this universe. You do not want to hear this story. If you heard any of the other stories from World of Warcraft or Warcraft 3 and 2 and all that, this is the worst possible version of the story. The only reason they started with that was because Warlords of Draenor. I have to believe one of the two was married to each other. I don't know which. I don't know if Warlords of Draenor came out because of the film, or if the film came out because of Warlords of Draenor. Either one is perfectly logical. I don't know which. But there's no way that film happens if there wasn't the game supporting it. There's no way that film happens. It was the worst possible story of a... I mean, we got potentially millions of hours of stories to tell. And they told that one? Oh, we dinged. We got create so well. That's useless. But that's what they chose? Like, are you kidding me? Out of all the possible stories, you chose that one. And like I said, the only reason they did that was because they wanted to set up these characters. But I don't even think they did that well. Like, Grom was basically cut out of the film. In my opinion, he's the main character. Like, Terran Gore, like, you know, these characters from Warcraft 2... I don't know. I just don't really understand the whole Warcraft 1 and 2 lore. I have to, like, pay more attention to it. We were just talking about this yesterday in yesterday's session, but I still don't really understand it. A lot of the characters that are in Warcraft 1 and 2, I don't know. I think what I would expect to learn is that they are bastardizations of what they became And WoD, you know, Warlords of Draenor was like, let's give them the credit they should have gotten. Like Ner'zhul and Gul'dan and all these characters that die regularly, like I'd say relatively regularly in that series. Like Gul'dan's death in World of Warcraft was way fucking cooler than Gul'dan's death in the Warcraft RTSs and whatever media associated with it, right? Does anybody disagree with that? He was the fucking last boss of one of the craziest raids ever, and his death allows Illidan, who was another main character, to come back into the game properly. That is the best death that that guy could have ever gotten. I just think it's like unparalleled. So the stories aren't told well in the early games, and I think they could easily retell them in a way that is perfectly cohesive with World of Warcraft. And like that's even something that they were trying to do with Warcraft 3, right? Oh, is the CD not up? Oh wow, it's not even close to up. That's fine, we'll just pull some. Anyway, I think that's something they were trying to do with Warcraft 3. Like by remaking some of those maps and the art and stuff for them, they were able to make like Sylvanas look more like Sylvanas in World of Warcraft. So it's like, oh, this character is clearly Sylvanas. This character is clearly Jaina. They look like they do in all media now. This is what they look like now. There's no differences. So I could see the same thing being said, like instead of books, make movies. Films that are entirely animated, pure CG, or whatever else is needed. Basically like the Warcraft 3 cinematic. Or, I keep saying Warcraft 3, but I mean World of Warcraft cinematics. Like Sarafang's death. That is a masterpiece. That's probably one of the best fucking things that was ever created in that type of style. Like, what else? I don't know. It's a masterpiece. Those characters are brilliant. Thrall being involved. Sylvanas's, like, even the facial expressions, just fucking brilliant. And I showed that to him, and I couldn't make him understand who these characters were. Like, Sarafang is technically alive in the plot of Warcraft film, but he's not featured because he wasn't a character back then. And Thrall is the main character, basically, of what would have been a Warcraft film franchise. But, like, he doesn't know anything that's happened to Thrall. You know what I mean? So I'm showing him these orcs, and I'm telling him all about them, and then they just get destroyed by Sylvanas. And I'm like, he's like, who the hell is that? I'm like, fuck. Because to tell him who Sylvanas is, you can't just say, like, oh, this is Sylvanas, she's the blah, blah, blah. You have, in order to tell him who Sylvanas is, you have to tell him who Arthas is. And just, that's not possible. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that. Draenei Paladin. 87. You can't say like, oh, Arthas, yeah, let me just tell you a little bit about him. Like, that doesn't work that fucking way. That is the best written, I honestly, Arthas is the best written character in any fantasy. Just gonna say that out loud. I mean, why would I not? Arthas is the best written, let's say best written villain in any fantasy. No, I don't even have to think twice about that comment, honestly. I don't have to think twice about that comment. I am fully on board with saying that. He's the best written villain in any comedy, in any fantasy. It could have easily been a Game of Thrones villain. Like, it depends on if you consider Cersei and Jaime a villain, but you know, after hearing George Martin basically say that one of the inspirations for Arthas, or one of the inspirations for Jaime Lannister was Arthas, it's like, okay, well, fuck, even this guy who just made this insane story agrees. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. He's one of the best fucking villains ever written. And he's not even a villain. Like, I don't even look at Arthas as a villain. I look at what Arthas and Garrosh went through as not villains. Like, they shouldn't be looked at as villains. They were just in really shitty situations, and they let the shitty situation win over their life. And it's with Arthas, it's like you can't even blame him. You know what I mean? The dude was obviously a little crazy, but other than that, what would you have done, man? Fuck it. You know what I mean? Your entire, like, everybody around you is getting killed and turned into the enemy. What the fuck? What else option is there than doing what he did, man? It's just the Lich King, like, the blade was, it was always gonna go that way. You know what I mean? They were fucking with him the whole time. That is definitely aggroing. How did that not aggro? Let's kill one, see what we get. But I don't know. Arthas was just excellent. So like for me to sit here and try to say like, man, it's just impossible. They need to make a film about Arthas, right? They should have made a film about fucking Arthas. I don't know why they made the film about those, like, it's a good story, but it doesn't start getting good until Warcraft 2, right? Like, Warcraft 1 story is terrible. There's just nothing going on there. It's characters that are only important because they get used better down the road, like Garona. In Warcraft 1, like, I don't even know, I never played Warcraft 1 or 2. Literally don't know a thing about the story, never played the game. The game looks terrible, I can't play it. If I was ever going to play it, it would have to be in a recreated scenario for Warcraft 3. I could not play a game with that graphic style. But anyway, what I saw from the Warcraft films, Garona, was like, it was like, oh, you're basically just trying to turn her into the character that she becomes in later versions of the game, right? Like, in the early versions, she was nothing. I don't know. I don't know even what I'm saying at this point, but my point is that those characters don't become great until things get really developed, and I really wish they just started in a more developed state. The problem is, if you want to start a cinematic universe, you can't start in the middle. So I think that's genuinely the fucking fool's errand that they were trying to embark on. I think they genuinely thought, well, hey, Marvel's doing really well. We can do this even better. Like, because literally, there's more. Like, if they were able to do what Marvel did, it would be way better. At least in my opinion, because I'd prefer it. But the Marvel characters are, like, so fucking black and white at times. It's so goddamn boring. Like, you know exactly, other than in, I still haven't seen Endgame, which is crazy, but I still haven't seen Infinity Wars and Endgame, whatever, the last two films. But besides that, every film I've seen, it's like, oh, I know exactly where this is. Like, there's some great action and some good writing and some tender moments and shit, but it's like, I know what's going to happen before the film starts. Just tell me who the bad guy's name is, and I could predict to you what happens. It's that obvious. That doesn't happen in Warcraft. You know what I mean? In Warcraft, these villains and these plots, they don't end. They go on forever. And that is because it's a persistent universe. There's no end in sight. The game is not going to be taken off servers next expansion, so they don't have to wrap these storylines up. Like, N'Zoth very well may be in Shadowlands, honestly. Like, this is something that is very on the table. And that's why I think Shadowlands is going to be such a good idea, because they could literally do anything they want at this point. They could bring back any character that they want, for whatever reason. Now we always laugh about it, like Dragon Ball Z tried to do this. Like, they try to bring Frieza back like 6 times, and it didn't work. Like, you know, it didn't make any sense. But if it did make any sense at one point, it was to exemplify just how strong the power creep of the characters in Dragon Ball Z became. Like, when they bring Frieza back, like, the proper time, like, Frieza, he or she, I don't know. Frieza dies, comes back as, like, an android Frieza, and it's like, oh my god, he's even stronger than he was? What the hell? How are we going to win this? And then Trunks comes and literally fucking one-shots the dude, right? It's like, oh. So that was, like, brilliant use of that. But, like, for Frieza fans, that was terrible. It was like, oh my god, this is a joke. What the fuck? They just ruined my favorite character. Like, you shouldn't want them to do that. But in Warcraft, I think they do it excellent. Like, I think it's excellent how they've done it. Like, the demons, I think that was probably the best. How they handled Kill Jaden, Archimonde. This shit was like, oh my god, spectacular. It was confusing as fuck. Because when Archimonde was in WoD, everybody assumed it was because the time travel thing. But they had to come out and confirm that that is not why he was in WoD. It is because that he cannot be killed other than in his, whatever, the nether or whatever. I still don't really understand it. But that's why Archimonde was in WoD, right? It's the same Archimonde we beat in Warcraft 3. It's not a different one. They just bring him back. And same thing with Kill Jaden. That is one Kill Jaden. Every time he loses, he can come back. So I love that about that, because those are transcending characters, and that's what made Legion so good story-wise. I actually just did Tomb of Sargeras for Transmog here, and I never paid attention to the story in the raids at all. In Legion, I didn't listen to a single word of it. The first time I ever paid attention to story was at the end of Legion. Pretty much the expansion was over already. Had no idea what happened the whole time. Okay? And I listened to what they said in the raid. And Illidan is like, he brings up the best point ever. This was so well written, this part in the raid. After you beat the Avatar, which is like one of the best, like, visually, it's one of the best fights, like, ever. You beat this insanely, like, important and visually spectacular fight. And you confront Kil'jaeden, and you realize that the portal that they've used to reinvade Azeroth is now right in front of them, and they can close it and stop this expansion here. You know, stop the entire storyline that's unfolded here. It is right there, right in front of them. This is how it all happened, and this is how it can all end. And Khadgar's like, let's do that. And Illidan's like, no, if we do it this way, they'll just be back. It can't be done this way unless you want to lose again in 1,000 years or whatever. And it's like, wow, that is the smartest fucking thing that any WoW character has ever said. And that is why Illidan is such a great... Illidan and Arthas, two of the best written characters in any media ever, if you ask me. But anyway, Illidan's a little bit more edgy, so it's a little bit cheesy. But this in Legion, it's the opposite. Arthas, or Illidan, was like, he took the cake. He was amazing. And that moment right there in Tomb of Sargeras is why. I think that is why, honestly. I think that is like probably why I fell in love with Illidan. Like right there, that mentality. Because what he does then in Tomb of, or whatever, what's the name of it? And Taurus the Burning Throne. It's like, fuck man, Illidan's a badass. And there has to be more, right? Like he can't... Down the road, he is going to return, and there's going to be more than that. I always thought that, I guess now that I see what happened in this expansion, I guess I shouldn't think this anymore, but I always thought that N'Zoth was going to come, like, the old gods were going to return, basically, and we were going to have to be like, fuck, Sargeras is actually our ally. We need him. Like, seriously, we have to unjail Sargeras. That's honestly what I thought was going to happen. But that's obviously not what's happening now. Up until like last month, or not last month, but last season, up until season 3, I still would have bet the house on that. That like we were gonna lose or something in Ny'alotha. I didn't know what. It wasn't gonna go to plan, and it was gonna trickle over into the next expansion, and that was gonna be an expansion where one of the first things we did was realize that Sargeras is actually a good guy. And not a good guy, but like he was, because like Sargeras is like the ultimate enemy of the old gods, right? Like for as much as we fight them and kill them, like the Burning Crusade is against the old gods. It had nothing to do with Azeroth. It's just that Azeroth was like heavily infected by the old gods, so that's why it happened, right? So yeah, I could easily have seen Sargeras end up being a good guy in some way, but like, how can you possibly make him into a good guy? You can't. It's not possible. He's been the ultimate bad guy forever, the entire game. So I guess it's not really possible. Maybe they were thinking they were going to do it, and then they had to pivot at some point. Now I'm hoping that Azshara fills that role, honestly. Now I'm hoping that Azshara can be the Sargeras, the same thing that I was hoping for from Sargeras, where it's like, the redemption, we found out that we've been wrong the whole time. Azshara's now played both the Burning Legion and the Old Gods, so if there's anybody who's going to be able to make that swing, I think it's her, right? I love the voice actor for it, too. I love the character. I'm with that. I'm with it, man. Let's make it happen. I don't think it's going to happen, though. But you never know. They could do an allied race, a neutral race, Naga. But they've already done like Nazjatar is out now, so there can't be a fish expansion, right? I mean that's out. And we basically done the Old God expansion in Ny'alotha. And that's one of the bigger complaints that everybody makes is like, oh, they squandered Ny'alotha with this raid. But I don't think they did. I think they did an excellent job with Ny'alotha. This raid is absolutely spectacular, especially visually. And I know a lot of people weren't satisfied with the story and how it unfolded, but I think Wrathion being a big part of it was more important than anything else. Like, frankly, it's more important than anything that happens with the Old Gods, because Wrathion is like He's an extremely important character development-wise. He was going to... I feel like he was supposed to play a big role in Legion. And for some reason, they pulled out on that. And then he ended up playing a big role in Shadowlands instead. Or not Shadowlands, but, you know, whatever. Nyalotha. It's like turned into a podcast, I just realized. Been streaming for an hour and we've just been talking about completely unrelated things. But I don't have anything to talk about in the game, but... it's interesting. So yeah, Legend of Korra is better than World of Warcraft. No, but you know what's funny about that whole thing? I was thinking about this. The whole like Zaire and I don't even remember what the other chick's name was. But anyway, Zelda Williams and Henry Rollins thing. It's not, this is not even close to the same thing, but I feel like it could have impacted the show in a way that I've only ever seen happen on Boardwalk Empire. Anybody ever watch Boardwalk Empire? It's a very good show. I love it, mostly because there's a lot of Italian-American roots in this area, and it's an interesting storyline anyway. But I thought that they did a great job. The concept of it is much more interesting than your typical mob flicks, because it takes place in a time before all these characters become who they are. And I thought that was genius. But anyway, in Boardwalk Empire, a very bizarre thing happened, and it's a sad story. It's not a good story here. Lewis Kester, I believe the character's name was, the Commodore. He was kind of like Nucky's boss, all right? He was responsible for like the building and creation of Atlantic City, the Boardwalk Empire. He built it, and then Nucky took over, I believe, because the Commodore was in some kind of legal trouble or something. I'm not exactly sure. I need to rewatch season 2 to understand it, because it never made a lot of sense to me why all of a sudden everybody was against Nucky. But basically, the Commodore was like, this is my town, and now that I'm in a position to retake it, I'm going to retake it. And that was meant to be the plot. That was meant to be season 2. The Commodore takes over, retakes over from Nucky, and probably, you know, I don't know. Maybe he was always going to die. I don't really know. I don't know what was going to be next for that character, but that was season 2, okay? And then part way into filming, probably not far into filming at all, actually, the actor who played the Commodore had a stroke, I think. The character has a stroke. The actor has a heart attack. I don't know. It was something like this. And this caused him to be unable to speak. The actor could no longer speak. It was not permanent. He's fine now, I think. But he could not speak for weeks in the middle of filming. Like, I'm talking about the worst possible time. And I think the people who were making it, like, even pleaded with HBO, like, yo, give us an extension on this. And they're like, no, you have to go with what you have, which is fucked in its own way. But anyway, yeah, so this basically changed the show. I mean, it literally changed the show. Because if you ever watch season 2 of Game of Thrones, Boardwalk Empire, you will know that all of a sudden the Commodore falls into poor health. I mean, it does make sense in the show. They do a good job making it make sense, but he falls into poor health and he becomes basically incapable of doing anything. Like, everybody turns against him because of this. Like, all of a sudden the leader's dead, so that's it, right? Like, game's over now. And his son, who was supposed to be a main character, gets killed in season 2, and I think because of it. Like, I think they had some big story written for Jimmy, and it's like just gone now because he's got to be written out of the show. So what else is there to other than, I don't know. Like, I have no idea what. Maybe they were always planning this. Maybe this is exactly what they wanted. It's just the steps to get to what they wanted didn't work out. That's possible, but I don't believe it. I think that they had to completely rewrite the entire show, and they ruined the show. Like, honestly, they ruined the fucking show. the character development between those two, Jimmy and that was it, right? Jimmy? I don't know. It's been so long since I watched that show. But yeah, that was like the best part of the show, honestly. It was like their interactions in season 1 was the best part of the show. And then he gets killed, like they kill him. I was like, fuck, man, are we sure this is what we wanted to happen? I always felt like the answer was no. So that's another interesting, I mean, this is not even close to the same, literally, it's completely different in every way. But I always thought that maybe that happened with Korra. Maybe they wanted Zaire, and maybe even they wanted, like, more seasons. They wanted something from Zaire, because they bring him into the show, and he's just like, he's there for 5 minutes. And he's basically only there because in season 3, he basically, like, breaks Korra. Like, she's fucked. She's, like, done. Like, her mental state is 0. And she has to confront him to be able to figure out what's going on. But it's like, his role in her refiguring whatever I just said, it's like, it's 0. Like, he doesn't do shit. He's like, I didn't do this. You did this. The only person who's holding you back is you. I think that's like actually what he says, word for word. That might actually be what he said. So it's like, wait, what? Are you sure? Because that's definitely not what you were saying in season 3. So I always thought that happened because they're like, oh, we cannot have this fucking guy in the show anymore. We cannot have this guy on the show at the same time. Kuvira, that was the other character. We cannot have these two actors, performers on the show at the same time. Not okay. Henry Rollins, he said something he should never have said. We can't have them on the same show. That's the only thing I could think of. So I don't know. But maybe it was just, not the best writing. Not my preferred writing. I mean, people always say bad writing. Just be truthful. You didn't like it. That's all it is. There's no bad writing. It's either you fucking rushed the shit like Game of Thrones, or you wrote something that you didn't like. That's it. There's no bad writing. You know what I mean? Like, people say that shit all the time, and it's very annoying. Bad writing. No. You could write, like, bad writing is the guy doesn't know how to fucking speak English. That's bad writing. He doesn't know how to use, like, literary devices well. That's like if I wrote a fucking film. It would be bad writing. But, like, oh, I don't agree that Nyalotha, like, should end with N'Zoth's death. Like, that's not fucking bad writing. That's you didn't like it. It's completely fucking different. It's not objectively poor. You know what I mean? And that's what people try to make it out to be in these series. It's like, people try to make it out to be like, oh, this was just stupid. This wasn't intelligently made. It's like, no. You just weren't satisfied with it. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate what happened with Game of Thrones. But the writing was not the problem. The fact that they had to write the way they did in fucking 6 episodes total, that was the fucking problem. If that took place over 2 seasons, you know what I mean? They could have made everything that sucked, everything that was fast in that show, not fast. And then you wouldn't even care. If there was an entire episode about the interactions between Jon and Daenerys, instead of 10 minutes where he goes in and kills her, it would have been way cooler. You know what I mean? And that's I think a lot of people still probably look at Game of Thrones as one of the most disappointing endings ever. And I totally understand why. But if you just look at the events, like if you read the events and don't see it happen, it's fine. Like, it's exactly what should have happened. Daenerys was always, like, she was always crazy. People who try to say that is not true to her character are fucking idiots, honestly. You could literally look up scenes where she does crazy shit in multiple seasons, like 5-6 seasons before that. You know what I'm saying? It's not surprising at all. She was always a little twisted, always a little bit emo, always a little bit Mad King, always. And all it took was the opportunity. Like, think about it, man. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. People say this is bad writing, but I think it's better writing than people think. If you were in that situation and all you heard about was how this family fucked killed your whole family and your lineage, and it's over now because of this, and you were there with every card in the deck, you got them all laid out in front of you, and you're there and they're on their knees, you know what I mean, and everybody's telling you, just accept their surrender, it's over, you won. I might burn the place down too, man. Honestly. Like, seriously, come on, think about it. You think that's a departure for Daenerys? Get the fuck out of here. The people who say that shit are fucking idiots. I don't even want to hear it. Don't even bring it up. If you're gonna say that shit, just get the fuck out of here. Just go back to Reddit. It's so ridiculous. That is so obviously what she was always gonna do. What did people want her to do, man? Because if she did anything, let me tell you something. If she did anything but that, the show can't end. It can't end. That's it. You know what I mean? That's the end of the show. Both of them dying. Jon Snow and Daenerys cannot both be alive. Otherwise, there needs to be more. It has to continue because they're both the last fucking Targaryens. So how could the show end? The show can't fucking end with both of them alive. And both being good guys. You know what I mean?
I don't like this place.
But anyway. Okay, so anyway, we got about 30 minutes left. I don't know, we'll see. Now that I've gotten all that out, I don't know what else there is to say. Okay, let's get a big pull here. Got 4 here. No, the thing's still on the screen. Look at that, we got them all gathered up too. That's really nice. How many things do we have? Oh, 119. Our bags are about to be filled. I think we'll clear out. We'll get to that side, and then that's going to be it. I'm going to run. We're going to go to Shatrith. Oh, I don't have a pet out right now. We're going to go to Shatrith. We'll hang out in there for a bit, and that'll be it. Oh, I didn't notice what level we are. How are we doing on leveling? We're probably on our way to the level that we need to be. Not even close. Wow. So in this last hour and a half, we barely gained a quarter of a level. We gained more than that, but we did not gain a half of a level, so yeah. Alright, yeah, we can't expect this to be viable, unfortunately. So let's clear these out, and then we're going to head out of here. We'll see what the future holds. We'll run to Shatrith, see if prices are something that we could think about. See if there's another option. Obviously, I think the option right now is get to 70 and then do this. But at the same time, I think it's just change our expectations. Because as much as this is fun, I don't know how much longer I can do. I really want to get this character to 120. Like, that is more important to me than the challenge. The challenge is fun. I don't want to give up on it, but at the same time, I have to cut some corners here because there's no way. If I don't get this character to 120, I'm going to feel terrible about it, honestly. It's just going to be the worst. I'm going to feel like such a failure. %100% experience boost, and every fucking possible thing went right. Like, you know what I mean? No work for over a month. 100% experience boost. Everything that could have possibly went right did, and we still can't do it. That's just ridiculous. Okay, so let's make, we're going to have what, 13? It's not nearly enough. But let's just go. Even if we only make 1 item with these, that's fine. I think that's actually what we can make is 1 item, right? We can make the chest. Where is it? How do we get back up this way? Oh yeah. Frozen Shadow Eve. Oh no, we need 3 more even just to make this. And then we need 14 Shadow Cloth, which means we need 14... Just to make the single piece, we need 14 fires and 14 shadows. And we only got 13 waters and about 4 hours of leveling. I don't know, it's hard to quantify, but probably about 4 hours. Not ideal. That's pretty nuts, actually. So that's the big difference between this and Classic. In Classic, the items are very easy to get. They're very easy to make, but they're very hard to get. This, it's complete opposite. TBC is the complete opposite. You probably would be a fool to even try to farm these yourself, honestly. Like, I mean... Oh, this is BOE as well, only. Wait, what? Has it always been BOE? That's interesting. I don't know, you'd be a fool to try to make this yourself, I feel like. It'd be better to just get some gold somehow and buy these things. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so we need at least 14 Primal Shadows and 14 Primal Fires, and then we'd still need a ton of Netherweave, which we are just not going to get. So, yeah, I think we just focus on leveling for the next few sessions. 66. Wait, what? We're 66? Wait, hold the fuck on. Did we ding during that rant? That's probably what happened. 66. Yeah, we did. I remember we got... Oh my god, forget it. I was going to say, in like all that time, I only barely got a level. But no, that's not true. We got over 2 levels. Well, that's not bad, actually. And I didn't even have this pot on. I've completely forgot. Wait, did I vendor it? Oh, no, I didn't. It's right there. Yeah, you can't see it because of the webcam. You can kind of see it's right there. But, yeah, I thought I vendored it. I didn't even have one of those on for most of that. It probably expired before we even got into the proper discussion that we were having there. Anyway, so I think from now on we'll just focus on leveling. If we have to buy, I don't know. We'll see. I just don't want to like send money over for my Death Knight to do this. That's the thing. These prices are not realistic. They're really fucking expensive, some of this shit. So it's either farm on an alt, like a max level character, spend the next, 10 hours leveling slowly just to get these things and being really bored, or, I don't know, buy it. I don't know. I'm not really sure what other options there are. It's funny, somebody's whispering me, and as it's happening, I see on the list on Discord, Cop's typing. Hey, Cop. Let's see what he says. He's been making a video on leveling, his leveling routes, so he's probably updating me on that. Let's see what he's going to say. Okay, anyway, we're 76. Shadow Moon is 67, I mean 76. 66. Shadow Moon is 67. Blade's Edge might be the play, because there's... I just don't know. I need to get... Shadow Moon is like, as soon as possible, go to Shadow Moon. Maybe it's worth just doing one more session like that. I mean, we got a lot more experience than I realized. I'm gonna have to watch the VOD because that actually was not slow. That was not a slow level at all, if that's the case. If we actually got 2 levels in that, those basically 2.5 streams, then that's actually better than I expected, honestly. Like, way better. Oh yeah, I was gonna go to Orgrimmar, but there's actually a an auction house here. I forgot about this. Okay, so let's check. We got a lot of shit to vendor too. Hopefully there's somebody to vendor to. All these gray items are gonna sell for a bit, yeah. Almost 2 gold each, so that's not bad. Alright, let's check the auction house. First of all, how much are these? 500 gold each. Like, that's a joke, right? There's only 15. These are 65 gold each. So that's out. Let's see, just say Primal in general and see. Primal Nether are somehow the cheapest, which is ridiculous. Primal Life, 250. Primal Fire, 650. Yeah, so this is just fucked. These prices are not, they're not acceptable. Although somehow Primal Mooncloth is less than the actual... That's interesting. Primal Life ends up being the cheapest, it looks like. Is there even Primal Earth? Am I wrong? I don't see it anywhere. I could have swore there was. Oh yeah, Primal Earth, 75 gold each. Yeah, see, it's only needed for blacksmithing, I think, so. I had no idea how hard this shit was to come by. I mean, we just grinded for like 3-4 hours and we don't even have enough for the single item I wanted to make. There's Cop, let's see. Yeah, I posted a thumbnail. I'm gonna reply to him after this. It's good. Anyway, oh, there's the belt. Wow, 34,000 gold. There's the shoulders. Hey, I guess it's worth it, right? Fuck. 200k gold for this pattern? I mean, come on, man. This shit is hard to come by, honestly. We might end up making money here if we did this. Maybe we just stick to this and just try to make mad money. That might be an option. Just make the belt or make the robe and sell it instead of wear it. Anyway, let's vendor.
What do you seek?
We got some greens to disenchant. I don't know what these things are. They're classic materials, I believe. 90% sure. Oh, a dagger that we haven't gotten. There's no way, I wish, is there any way for me to know if I have it on my account? Other than look at it, I guess. Another green, a lot of greens. Like the transmog itself, is there a way, because it only shows if the character that could potentially put it on. Like all of these things are BOE, so I could send them
Keep your wits about
all over the place. Those are terrible looking though, so I literally don't care if we have that or not. That is interesting, I guess we'll put it on. There's no reason not to put it on here because the problem is once I equipped it, then I can't disenchant it. So I think it's more valuable for this this playthrough to disenchant it than to send it over to my DK or something. Maybe we could sell these essences too. I don't know. What the hell is that? Small prismatic shard? First time I've gotten one of those. That's weird. I don't even know what those are for, to be honest. Oh, wait, you can't sell these?
I have one-of-a-kind items.
I literally don't know what that is either. I guess I'll hang into this. I really don't. I don't think I need this. Okay, let's see. Maybe we could sell some of this shit. Stuff that we're not using. We don't need anything else. This is it. Just arcane dust. That's the only thing we need. We're not gonna level enchanting. I don't care whatsoever. Here, let's see if we can sell these. We have exactly 6, so maybe they'd sell. Looks like that's a no. Whatever. If they sold, it would still be fine. Wow, this shit's selling for nothing now. Not a penny. Small brilliant shards. Whatever. If any of it sells, we'll make some money at least. Silver per, holy shit. I don't know what that's from then. It's definitely a classic material, but I don't know why it's dropping out here or why it's so cheap. Like that's like a low level classic material, isn't it? Let's see if we can't sell the. So put it up. I don't think I'm ever gonna need any of this stuff, honestly. There's no reason to have rune cloth, right? Am I wrong about this? Oh, the fuck on. Of course I need rune cloth. We're gonna go back to TB classic eventually, so. Mage Weave I don't need, but rune cloth I need. Okay, well, that's about it. Yeah, we can't purchase anything. There's nothing that we can really do. So I don't know, we gotta brainstorm here. Gotta figure something out. Other than trying to sell the stuff ourselves, but that doesn't help us.
State your business.
We could sell them. If they all sold for 6,000 gold. Doesn't really help, but 6,000 gold. If we had 6,000 gold, what would we be able to do? Could we buy anything? Let's see. Frozen Shadow Weave. No. 56,000 gold. So yeah, no. Even the cloth, I'm sure, is it like that? 1W? That's weird. There's not even any cloth on the auction house. What's the other one called? Spell cloth? The what? I hope nobody's buying that. Like, what the hell? Why is that even on the auction house? You just go to a vendor and buy it. People literally don't know that, I think. It's funny. How much is felt cloth? Even that's 300 and some gold. We'd just be farming felt cloth anyway, even if we were doing classic stuff, so. Yeah, there's really no end in sight to our farming. So what's the future look like? Let's see. Well, at worst, here, you know what? Let's do this real quick, since I do still have a little bit of time. I'm going to go to Shadow Moon Valley. I want to see what's going on there. Because I know there is... I just got to find out where. And while we ride, we're going to find out. I know there's a vendor there that will sell me a pattern that I would like to make as well. But I don't know who it is. Imbued Shadow Weave. No, Imbued Nether Weave. And I don't know why he would not be able to sell me. Like, do I have to be 67 for him to sell it to me? Maybe not. That's the main reason I wanted to go here. Imbued Netherweave Robe, let's say that. Let's see. Where you get this from? You get it from, Top Buy Imbued Netherweave Robe Pattern. And that is from Armand. A dude in the middle of the zone, basically. He's a blood elf. He looks exactly like my paladin used to when he had dark hair. Let's kill one of these just in case. Might as well. since we're here. Not a thing. The zone's kind of a pain to travel through, honestly. Because in order to do so, you have to fly, or you have to ride right through this completely hostile town. But yeah, so we're gonna go check this guy out. Let's see at the comments. Maybe there's some. Another option is to just ride there and buy the pattern after choosing Alders or Scryers while you're still neutral to both. Wait, what? You can have a Scryer friend go buy it for you. Oh. This is a Scryer vendor. But because I'm Horde, I'm neutral to Scryer. Is that enough? Or I'm friendly to Scryer? I think. I think as Horde, you start with one over the other, right? Yeah, no, neutral with both, actually. Wait, no. Neutral with only the one. The Shatar, that's something else entirely. So yeah, neutral with them probably means I'm good. As it says, when you're still neutral to both. Yes, that's a good option. Oh, this is another one of those patterns that might not be here either. My favorite. I think it's up here we have to go, right? If anybody, not that anybody would have watched it yet, but when I was doing the blacksmithing challenge, I had to keep delaying making episodes because every time I'd log in, the pattern wasn't there. And I was like freaking out about it. I'm like, is there somebody like trolling me here? Like, how is this possible? It says it's a 30-minute respawn and it's been like 3 days now. There cannot be somebody who is constantly coming here and buying this every 30 minutes and I'm just somehow not able to get this. It's funny. I don't know what ultimately ended up happening, but... I did get it eventually. It just seemed really odd to me that I was probably the only person on the planet who cared about that pattern. I thought that anyway. Maybe it's people buying it and trying to sell it though, honestly. That could be it. I just didn't understand how the pattern was never there. So this is the Spires of Iraq, right? This area here. Wait, it must be more than that, right? No, Zanger Marsh is... I just don't understand. Compared to WAD... Here, I want to look that up, actually. Outlands versus WAD. Map. Yeah, here's the overlay. This is exactly what I was looking for. So Frostfire Ridge, well, most of this shit doesn't even seem to work. Nagran's the only thing that seems one-to-one. I'm having trouble deciphering what it even has here because it's... Ashran is there somewhere? Is that what? No. I see. So the white is the outline of the WAD map, and the black is the outline of the old map. It's like the zone outline. So Zanger Marsh is basically the sea in WAD. It's not actually a zone. The confusing part is Blade's Edge Mountains. I guess Blade's Edge Mountains is mostly Frostfire Ridge. Yeah, I guess that's it. Blade's Edge Mountain is Frostfire Ridge. Because if Zanger Marsh is the sea, the Zangar Sea, then yeah. So basically, this is like mostly this. And then Gorgrond just doesn't exist, I guess. Netherstorm is like some of Gorgrond. I don't know. It's confusing. So anyway, these mobs are 67, so yeah, I mean, can I get quests here? Because it doesn't seem like anything would stop me from doing anything here. I couldn't quest in this zone right now. I mean, these mobs are only one level higher. But I assume 67 is not a recommendation. It's a you can't come here unless you're 67. I don't think that's an option. We'll see, though. Maybe there's quests that we can do, because I wouldn't mind just leveling in this zone now. There's a lot of good mob targets for this playthrough, one way or the other. It's a pretty good, it's like a good experience zone. This zone always kind of sucked because it was harder than the other zones. But I imagine now that scaling is the way it is, I don't think that's applicable anymore. Like, I don't think that matters at all. I don't think that's a thing anymore. Borak, son of Ornok. Alright, here's the zone. Anyway, well, the innkeeper's usable.
Everything has a price.
Yeah, okay. If I could buy from the innkeeper, then I should be able to buy from wherever this other guy is. It's in here, I think. Yep, tailoring supplies. Okay.
Has a price.
Yeah, there's the patterns. The robe. Wait. What? Where are the other pieces? What the hell? I thought they would both be from here.
Justice.
Okay. Anyway, let's see what this is. This we can make right now. If we just had the cloth, this we can make right now. So this is an easy piece to make. And that is going to be a massive upgrade to what we're wearing. Oh my god, yeah, huge. But where is the other? I'm confused. Imbued. Nether weave. What are the other pieces? Pants? When do you get those? So I was thinking like about making this whole set and then going and making the next set and then making the final set for transmog, and that was going to be our goals. But this is in Zangermarsh? What the hell? We're all over the place. Horde has Zurai. Dark Spear Trolls. Okay, so well, let's head there. I assume the final piece is not going to be in this zone. But yeah, no quests here, so I'd imagine we're not going to be able to do that. And then the final piece is boots, I think? Imbued netherweave boots or something. That's interesting. They did do a good job scattering the stuff around the world, honestly. Oh, this is also from Zangermarsh. Okay, so let's go get those two, and then that's going to be it. I might have to go a little bit sooner than that. I might not make it there. I got to be off by 6:30 at the latest, I think, so it's getting pretty close. But yeah, it was an interesting session. We certainly had a lot to talk about, but I don't think I could do, man. I'm like exhausted now from talking that fiercely. I don't think I could do the podcast life, not without a second person. Either way, that stuff you can't make until 60. Well, I just put this away, but I want to look at, is there anything I can make that's worth making? Like, I was thinking it's not even worth making these items, honestly. Item level 77, item level 79. So this is just better. If I was going to make this, it wouldn't be worth making this, right? Like, they're barely better. It's just a cool piece to have. Like, wait, 73, what? Oh, what the hell? This piece sucks. Wait, does that even matter? I don't know. 24 intellect, 22 stamina. 25 intellect, 14 stamina, 16 verse. Both have 2 sockets. So I don't even think that really matters. The item level part, that doesn't even matter, I don't think. Okay, but for the next few sessions, the next time we play this, it's just gonna be leveling. Just level, get experience. Probably be in Blade's Edge, actually. Just get experience. Well, I don't know though, Blade's Edge. I don't. Oh, what the fuck is that? I don't actually know Blade's... Okay, that's not good. I don't actually know Blade's Edge, so we'll probably not do that. I don't know. We'll see, because there's fire elementals there. Let's see what other options there are for fire elementals. Primal fire. I don't actually know where to find shadow either, honestly. Northern Blades Edge Mountains and Shadow Moon Valley, center of the map. Okay, that's probably a better option. Oh, that's interesting. Primal fires are the most highly demanded primal, apparently. What about Primal Shadow? Let's see. Oh, wow. How about that? Demons. All demons used to drop Primal Shadow, but they changed that in 2.1. Holy shit. That's crazy. Oh, Mana Tombs apparently has a lot of Primal Shadow in it. Nexus Terrors and Mana Tombs. I wonder how long a queue would be for a specific dungeon. It's ironically the one I have selected for whatever reason. Let's see if it pops before... I can't do it, but let's see if it pops before we get to... whatever, Zangarmarsh. And apparently Black Temple, people needed it, so that's why the market was the way it was. Not like that's relevant anymore. The best spot is actually Mana Tombs, but you can/should switch to Oshigan once you have the instance lockout. Don't forget your Bear Tartar. These are horrible to farm, even worse than other primals. If you're like me and need many of these for transmog or whatever, prepare for a long grind. They even come with a strange random drop rate for fun. What's that guy talking about? Oh, and apparently transmuting them is an option. I didn't think about that. My Death Knight could transmute. I just don't know how it works. There's a list here. Let's see. What will Earth transmute to? Because Earth are really cheap. Earth will transmute... Oh, the Earth can transmute to water. And then water to shadow. I'm gonna look that up because I don't actually know how that works. But I don't imagine it's worth fiddling with, honestly. Like, if I bought a bunch of Earths, which is actually maybe on the table because they're not that expensive, then I could transmute them to either water or life, apparently. But I'd have to have the transmute, which I don't know how that works. What's going on here? Pet battles. Look at those guys pet battling. That's funny. Now we're probably about halfway there. And no queue yet. Oh, this guy, he starts all the way up here, huh? Wow. Poor. Interesting crafting system, though, in TBC. I feel like it's just worse in every way than Classic, but it's certainly very robust. Like, I don't know, the whole grinding, there's literally like, I can't even get an answer to this. Primal Shadow grind. Farming, let's see. I can't find a single, let's see, 30 to 40 Primal Shadows per hour. Let's see what they're recommending. Yeah, just outside of Akandun, or oh, well, not Akandun, Oshigun in Nagrand. Oh, there's a lot there, actually. I didn't even think about that. Maybe we can do that too, I guess. We can do that while queuing for mana tombs, maybe? Interesting idea, right? Is there a dungeon that gives other primals? I guess maybe water might come from Underbog or something? What dungeons can we even do? Underbog and slave pens, maybe? I don't... There are water elementals in there, but I doubt they would give anywhere worth... It would not even be worth it. But yeah, like, doing dungeons isn't really something that's supposed to be done in the challenge, but I don't feel like it's against the rules, honestly. Like, I'm not going to do the dungeons to level. It's not like I'm going to sit here and AFK in the city and just do dungeons to level and get carried with 0 gear on. Like, that's not what's happening here. I'm sure I would do decent. Apparently the Arcatraz has a good amount of them too. That's interesting. Hellfire Peninsula, but I don't see that being better than the Ostragon area unless it's competed. Did we start the zone? Maybe we'll just do this zone. Because there's actually a fair amount of motes that you could probably get passively in this zone. Not necessarily the ones we want, but if we come up here and kill these, you get some life motes. And I'm sure there's water elementals, whatever, like with the Naga and stuff. Okay, Lordy, was that the person's name? No, this is him.
Greetings, man.
Oh, there we go.
Spirits be with you, man.
Oh, these are 69 and 67. Oh, damn. Well, the queue seems prohibitive. Now, pants might be on the table. Because Frozen Shadowcraft is robe, shoulders, and boots. So if I can make gloves or pants, there's no gloves, I don't think. Are these really the best gloves I can make? Let's take a look at what I don't have. I'd like to have more than 3 items on, obviously, before we leave. But some of them are probably going to be bad items. Okay, so we're gonna make shoulders one way or the other. We're gonna make robes one way or the other. Bracers, Black Temple, Mahigel. These are like a BOE. Oh wow, 8 prime. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? For bracers, you gotta be kidding me. That might be the easiest one right there. Fire resistance. Unyielding. They're all BOEs, every single one of them. Well, that's from the Aldor, but I don't think we're going to be going Aldor one way or the other. Okay, belt. We are making a belt, if I remember correctly, right? This is classic. Frozen Shadow Weave is shoulders, no belt. Okay, so we need a belt too. But one of the pieces in the other set is a belt, right? Yeah, Primal Mooncloth is belt. So we'd probably just make that if anything. It's only Primal Life. Wait, is Primal Mooncloth way easier to make? It might honestly be. I feel like Life is going to be a lot easier to get. Yeah, it's Life instead. Okay, anyway, that's it. I gotta get out of here, so we'll talk about what we're making in the future. Gloves, Sunwell, Shattereth, what's that? Spellfire gloves, what is that? Oh, I haven't bought in the Spellfire set yet. Okay, interesting stuff. Okay, well, anyway, yeah. At worst, we just buy shit on our main. Yeah, we're gonna keep leveling. Next time we come on, we're gonna level more. We're going to try to get to 70, and that shouldn't take too long. So thanks for watching. We will see you guys in the next one, and we'll talk more about what we're doing then.